This year's Independence Day in Malaysia is a little different. No extravagant parades, no over-the-top performances. It is the new norm after all, as containing COVID-19 is still a work in progress. The absence of the festivities, however, does not make Independence Day any less meaningful. In fact, the pandemic has shed a new light on our understanding of Merdeka. Our freedom and safety were threatened. Life, as we know it, changed forever. We are more than 8,000 kilometers away from home, but Malaysia remains close to our hearts. For this year's Independence Day, we want to find a new meaning of Merdeka. We interviewed 5 individuals in Wellington, New Zealand to get their insights on Merdeka and the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, to understand the beginning of Merdeka, we met Cikgu Ilyas as the generation who has experienced the early days of independence.
Firstly, it is the end of foreign rule, foreign interference, and the end of colonialism.
Merdeka! Merdeka!
But it's a start of a challenge for Malaysia to take charge of the country and be responsible for the well-being and development of the country. As you know, Merdeka is an opportunity for Malaysia and our government to channel the diversity of races that we have in the country. At the start of Merdeka, things were not easy, as we did not have the personnel and the right infrastructure for development processes to embark. So that's why there was a process of transition before we could reach a stage where we could not only govern ourselves but also implement programs for the development of the country.
We then visited one of the New Zealand veterans, Bill Russell, who has served in Malaya for 3 years, from 1961 till 1964. Mr. Russell served a patrol on the Malaya-Thai border and was present during the formation of Malaysia's federation.
I have here some of the equipment that I used. This is my shirt, and I was part of the 28th Commonwealth Brigade.
We talked about how much Malaysia has progressed over the years into the Malaysia that we know today.
From 1963 to 2019, when I was last there, absolutely stupendous. I mean, one way to check on the prosperity of a company is to look and see how many building cranes there are. And if you drive around KL, almost every block has got a building crane. Now, you don't build buildings if you haven't got any money, or there is no business. Each city has its own flavour. When I was in Iffah last year, I was impressed as how clean and smart the buildings were. Older style buildings, immaculately kept. Now, I can go to countries that have old style buildings in disrepair. I didn't see that in Malaysia.
Now, what about the concept of independence that is relevant to this time of age?
You mentioned Merdeka, and I think the concept is freedom. But freedom from what? Administration, whether by British or by the Japanese or by the Portuguese or by the Dutch, is a kind of administration. You get freedom from that. But more importantly is the freedom from hunger. Freedom from the weather when you don't have a home. To have your own home. That freedom to earn. So that concept of freedom was important to us, so that we free people from hunger. If we can help somebody that having freedom and not using it to benefit anybody, not even for yourself, if you're still caged in with your own thoughts, then you are not really free yet. So we borrowed that idea of freedom and said, okay, let's put it into food.
Next, we look into what the young generation of Malaysia thought about Merdeka.
Merdeka to me means like unity and in harmony, independence obviously. So being able to embrace each other's culture, being able to respect each other's beliefs. Yeah, just having the really good opportunity to be able to interact from people of all different races, different walks of lives, and I feel very, very lucky actually to be from Malaysia and get the opportunity to learn from other people and what their experiences have been.
We have learned the freedom of Malaysians back then was restrained because of the colonizers and enemies within. But now, our freedom and safety has been affected by COVID-19. Because of that, we seek to understand how significant is the pandemic to our history, and how does it change our concept of freedom throughout this journey?
I rasa super significant. Obviously, right now we're living through history, and this is something that my kids, my grandkids akan belajar in the sejarah textbook. And you can ada chapter 2020 and all the things that has happened throughout this year. And obviously the coronavirus is a big part of the year. And yeah, it's been very significant in terms of the impacts it has had on our normalcy. So macam selama ni you kind of take for granted, the privileges that you've had in just being able to see your family, see your friends, and just do everyday things that you've never realized was something very significant.
During the colonial period, we had no control of our destiny. It was instituted upon us by the colonial power. COVID-19 is way down the track, 60 over years after independence. So in some ways we have resources to a large extent to control the virus, to maintain the virus, and eventually to crush the virus.
It's a wake-up call for everyone, and it's also a way for people to build up family ties, and also for people to learn how new things, how to get together, and then children at home too, they learn how to enjoy, how to create new sports at home, new dance move, you can see some of them. All those new creative things certainly comes up, and how people manage to isolate themselves but yet manage to communicate with the other friends and family, how other family help them to do shopping. Like myself, some of my friends just go shopping and then drop off at my house for us, so that helps a lot too, so it helps to bring people together, closer.
I have learned to be a little bit more compassionate because it's nobody's fault that they've got the virus. It's been transmitted, and it's probably just as well we don't know, but we have learned to be tolerant of it. So that to me is also a silver lining.
Let's be honest, COVID-19 has introduced us with new challenges that we've never expected before. But in hindsight, it teaches us that solidarity sparks unity. By sharing kindness to society, regardless of skin color and belief, we have proven that we care. Mr. Majid lives by this example through his community work with Ekta.
Ekta means unity, and it's an extension of the word Mohibah that you have in Malaysia, and coupling it with Gotong Royong. You know, muhibah and gotong royong are linked. You know, when you have that, you work together. So we took that concept and brought into life here. So we decided, why not? One of the things that my religion teaches me is to share. Now, what do we share? We share what we have. We have compassion. When you share people's emotions, when you sit down and talk to people and hear their stories. You share food when people don't have. You share that. You share history. You talk to people and discuss your history, who you are. So that sharing concept, we said, okay, right? We will share something with the people here. And the sharing that we decided was to bring food out.
This year, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, we cannot celebrate Merdeka Day as we used to. This video is a special dedication to all Malaysian community in New Zealand and across the world. Although we are far from home, we feel the love and cares from all walks of the society. COVID-19 brings us new meaning of unity. Besides the hard work of the government and the frontliners, ordinary citizens like every one of us have contributed in a small way. If we unite this and do this together, we will certainly overcome the pandemic and be free again to return to our normal in the near future. The High Commission of Malaysia would like to thank Malaysian community across New Zealand who have offered to help the stranded Malaysians during the lockdown. They are kind because they care. They work hand in hand with the High Commission, as only through united actions we are able to accomplish our missions. Thank you.
Hello guys, we want to wish you a happy
Independence Day!
And it's a wrap!
It's a wrap!